So real strong move in the market yesterday. Actually, after 11 o'clock, I was off the desk. So although I was long from the pre-market low and right here in the market open, only participated in the move to the Friday afternoon's resistance. The second leg was very powerful, took us up to Thursday's resistance, and we're gapping a little higher this morning. So if you look back the last couple of weeks, we're now back inside of this consolidation range before we have the break to the upside and then the failure. So we take a step back and look at this big picture. After we retested the lows here back on February 9th, if we measure the size of the move from the low to the high, this was about pretty much 50% retracement. So as nasty as this was over a couple of days, it stopped at a spot where a lot of technicians would look for people to step in and buy. They did. We had good follow through yesterday. And so those would be considered bullish points. But generally, I think that a takeaway from market conditions right now, that the way I look at the SPYs versus last year, is last year we had the suppressed volatility. But the other thing that was very common, even with the suppressed volatility, on days where the market would show weakness and then consolidate below the morning low, we would have really good trend days. The difference we're seeing now, and this is in both directions, I can actually see it pretty clearly. Let's take, for example, after this initial bounce off the low, from February 7th, we just had really good multi-day follow-throughs. So like here was multi-day follow-through, here was multi-day follow-through, here was multi-day follow-through. Now, after the bounce, we had another follow-through. So it just looks like instead of just having one day of down, now we'll have 2-3 days of down. Instead of having, it's more on the downside that I'm concerned about. But on the upside, we are seeing the same pattern in terms of buying comes in, some more people step in, people get a little bit more confident. We get back up to some area where we'll stall out before the next hard down move. So that's something to keep in mind. I was kind of neutral coming into yesterday. We had the big bounce. I had missed it. If we had gapped up in the morning, I probably would have looked to see, and if we had failed to gap up, we gapped down. So I looked to see if we supported the afternoon support, which we did pretty much. We did. Then we took out the highs from Friday, and we had a second leg higher to Thursday's resistance. So this morning, we topped out here at 273.5 or so. Certainly, if we got through that, I would be looking to short into 274, where we broke down from on Wednesday. And again, we were buying here on Wednesday morning. We bought here, and we actually had a pretty good bounce. It was about $1.50 bounce. And I was off at the airport, so I actually ended up making money, even though we melted at the end of the day on the long side. Good follow through. Morning gap down, bounce, bounce. Now, so we look for a failure in this area right here. On the IWM side, strong move, strong gas. So we're above 154 right now. So just looking at yesterday, we got above that 152. Went straight up to 153.30 or so. The afternoon took us to that 54. 154 to 154.35. There was some potential trouble there. So we're gapping above that right now. First thing I would watch is coming to this 154. Do we support here? If we support here, we start to move up, and then we can look for the upside. If we come into this, and we either go through, we can look for this, or if we don't go through, we just have a little bit of a bounce, and then we take it out. You can look for that, something like that. So those are the potential patterns off of that area. As traders, we're always thinking of what are the potential paths, and what is the behavior we need to see at key levels, either be long or short. In your mind, you're just calculating before and analyzing as it happens, and you're making the percentage play. And Let me just go back to the SPYs for a second, because we don't actually have a long list of stocks to go over. So I just want to explain to you my thought process yesterday morning as I was trading the SPYs. So remember, coming in, I really, I had this area right here where I thought this was the spot to really be aggressively long. We just had it showed good support mid-afternoon, late afternoon, and then we popped from there. And so since we had bounced from the lows, we wanted to see if the afternoon support holds the next morning. So we didn't quite get to my dream buys, but what I noticed was we were in the pre-market. I nibbled, I think right here at 60 cents, and we held 50 cents. We popped back up. We failed at the pre-market resistance, came back down, couldn't get above pre-market, the opening high, came back again, and then what I noticed here was there had been buyers at 70 cents here. They came back down, so I had my bid ready to go at 70 cents right here. And I made that adjustment. Even though this coming into before the market opened, this is the area where I really wanted to load up. But once the market opened, I saw first move up, then buyers here. Even though the buyers came a little bit lower, the sellers, I said, okay, this is an area where there were buyers. I'm going to put in a bid there. It came down, my bid got hit. It popped back above 268, and then I was in a position of strength. Even though I was probably off the desk by here, I didn't see this move. But then buyers slowly started to take control. Sideways action is after an up move means buyers are stepping up to higher levels. They're holding price. Explosive move to 269. Buyers are holding price. Explosive move to 269.70. And then there was no consolidation. It was just up, up, up. Next consolidation was above 270.50. So that was an adjustment. Looking to buy here. Once I saw the buyers after the open, adjusted a little bit. Anyway, I don't really make a lot of teaching points during the morning meeting. It's more towards sharing ideas. But only two things in play. So BZUN. Wow, over 40. Okay. So they had good numbers and they raised guidance. So it's always good when you beat and then raise. The other thing about it was, if you looked at it, it was in an uptrend, and then it's spent some time consolidation. The consolidation has been pretty wild in terms of it's been a pretty wide range for, I guess it was a $4 stock and went up 10x. So it probably would explain the wild consolidation when a stock makes a move that large of a percentage. It's not that unusual for it to have a wide range. So after the high was put in here at 36, it pulled down to 26. That kind of established the range. It took out that high, came back down, they started selling it again. Did a retest, it held. Did a retest of the highs, it failed. And so this started, let's say, to July. It's been almost a year. Well, 8 months. So it's been 8 months since here. From here to here is 8 months. Probably enough time for it to have a clean break above 40. I'm not sure if it's enough of it to get it to really go to much higher prices, but certainly it could hold above 40 today. But here's the way to look at it. So it got up to 40 in the pre-market. It failed there, came off $1.50. Once it caught a bid, they started to hold it above 39. People grew more confident. Now they're breaking above 40. It doesn't mean that it can't do one of these where it fails up here, comes down, does this, and comes all the way back down to 38.5. Absolutely can do that. In fact, I want to, if it does get sold, did I put that on the sheet, 37.6? Yeah, I put 37.50. It's probably more like 37.60s. So when a stock, goes from, this is a 20-something% move from here, from the low a couple of days ago to here, it's natural for sellers to step in even if the news is good. Thanks, Aaron, all-time highs right here. It's very natural for people to come in and take profits. I mean, there's some people in from 35 to 36, obviously a bunch of people in here, and there's people who are buying it into the low 30s. People may not want to chase, and so you might get a move into the prior high from the last few weeks. which takes us into 37.60s. That's the first thing I'd look for. And then maybe even gets an overshoot and they grind it back higher all the way back to 40. Those would be more tradable. I think tradable than it being long above 40. But certainly if there's buyers at 40, there's no way of saying really where it's going to fail. It's hard to see it from my perspective going much higher than 41, but play either direction. It's already done 25% of daily volume, which is great. So it means it's going to be very in play. And the buyers stepped in here to push it above 40.50, and it's holding here now. It does look like it's going to try to dig at that all-time high, even before the open. Next one is GLYC. They're also on a conference call. They did some updates on their drug trials. My best guess is they maybe push back the time frame for when these drugs trials are going to be finished, potentially approved. So it's a stock that's up a ton, obviously, on prior good drug news already. And so let's just zoom out here so we can kind of see how much it came up. So it's another one that had a big move and then a wide consolidation range. Obviously, this was, I think we were probably trading it on this, right, into this support area. And I would think this is a bounce candidate. Right now, it's acting like they want to push it down a little bit more. So let's see here. It went from 10, pulled back to 10, then it topped out at 19. This is a pretty big pullback from 19. I think when I had bought this longer time frame, I think I had it from like here to here or something like that. I'm getting old, so I can't remember, but I think I bought on this pullback and caught this move. So first thing to think is obviously it's because it's been consolidating most days above $22, and recently they're buying it here at 23 to 24. That some people are maybe a little bit nervous. So if it does bounce from like this 18, 17 and a half, 18 area, and it gets back up to 19 and a half, 20, to be careful about potentially some people starting to sell it there. If it starts to hold above 20, fine, then you can play it for the full. And the full, well, you'll have 21. And I think to me, I'm buying it here and it bounces. I'm looking for here and here, best case. I'm not worried about it going all the way back up into this. Yeah, I mean, I'll take a quick look at Target. It just didn't seem like there was much of a reaction. We do normally look at it after earnings. It does have some pretty good moves. I think last quarter we caught a long in it. So you already had the bounce here from 18 to 19. So let's see if that holds again or fails. Even if it fails and flushes through down to the 1760s and then gets back above 18, look for the bounce from there. And then TGT, it's down $1. So like many retail names, this had a good bounce. Let's go in the higher time frame. So this was down in the 40s. It broke out above 64, went vertical. I think this is, did we buy this here? This is February? No, we didn't buy that there. Where was it? March. Maybe this was earnings. They were announced early. You do have a bit of a wedge going on here where it gapped up and it failed above 76. So well, it already went down to 72 in the pre-market, it looks like. So people are going to be looking to sell into 75 most likely. Actually, was below 72. I mean, buyers are definitely in control right now. So the way I look at it is buyers are in control. What does it do above 75? Does it fail above there, start to come back down? And if it does, then I just want to see how it acts at 74 after that. If it actually holds there, then maybe it's just done for the day. If it goes through and sellers start holding it below 73.80, you could get that move all the way back down to 72, 72.50. CLSD. So CLSD was weak. I still have a few shares. It managed not to get hurt because it popped a few times before it went down off the desk. This was probably the biggest pop right here when it popped back up to 1170. It tested a few times. I guess it looks like 1020, then had a nice bounce. Wow, this is actually a pretty good bounce. And then it got, I think, an upgrade today. So it's basically $11 for their sellers now, and then 1025 are the buyers. It did get, and the reason why it got bought at 1025 is just, I think that was the prior high. So they bought it, and that's where you would expect some people to step in and buy. They came in right here. As long as it's above $10, and then you see it, if it gets back to consolidating anywhere like above 1050 and breaks to the upside, I would look for it to work its way back up. It wouldn't surprise me in the next few days if it worked its way back up to $13, $14. But the first step would be it holding above 11. And if it fails at 10, that would be pretty bad. Durham. So Durham, I think Aaron mentioned this one, ended up not doing a lot. I think it was up at 10 to short it. It never got there on the open. Got to like 980 something. So it got to like 990. And then it finally, at the end of the day, broke down below 9. So I guess my thought process coming in today is, what does it do at this 850, 860? If it holds it again, maybe look to buy it and see if it can work its way back up to $9.5, $10. Below that, well, the best person I know in biotech said they have $13 cash, and that people are going to be looking for the bottom fishing. Now we know that most of that just happened unfortunately, the move really happened in the pre-market yesterday, where it went from 5 to 9.5. So it might drift down a little bit further, maybe to 7.5 or something like that. BCEL. And I just put this on here because it broke out and was like probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest, stocks in the market yesterday. You can see first move was up. After the pullback, consolidated around the high, had a nice leg. For $10 stock, it went from 9 to 10.5, and then the second leg was the same distance, 10.5 to 12. You want to buy it into here, you would think. This area here for a move to take out yesterday's high. That's it. As always, be patient and good luck.
Hope you enjoyed that video. You can actually watch that video if you're subscribed to our Trader 90 before the market even opens. What stocks are in play? What levels in those stocks are important? And how we might go about attacking that stock. That's Steve Spencer, 20-year veteran trader, laying it out there every morning before the market even opens. A really, really powerful tool to start your session off on the right foot. So right now we're offering a trial that you can take advantage of to access this meeting and other meetings throughout the day. We have a meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern where you can sit down with Mike Bellafiore and listen to him talk about what's going on during the morning session, what stocks were in play, what the best trade opportunities were, as well as maybe some things that we're looking at heading into the afternoon session. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that trial.